Welcome to ZenTen with Jackie Rose, CZT, Certified Zentangle Teacher with Zentangle, and we are on day 5 of this week, our shading day. So once again, let's take a nice deep breath in and out, just to get relaxed and centered. Let everything go, and all you need today is your pencil and your tortillon. And again, if you don't have a tortillon or a blending stick, you can use a Q-tip or your finger, or maybe you have something else that you're going to use. So I always like to kind of start with the pattern that we started with, but I think I'm going to start from the left, coming from the left, top down. I think it'll just be easier. So we're going to start with this pattern. Oh, I never gave you the name of that pattern, but it is in the description. And this is, well, it's either arc flower or poser. They're very similar, and but I kind of call it arc flower. And now we're going to take our pencil, and with the side of the pencil, we're just going to put in some graphite using the side of the tip, not the actual tip. And we might go right over the border of that, or the edge, and we're just giving this a shadow aura, if you will. That's what I call it, but basically we're just, and this is, I put a little bit here too. So we're just outlining the entire section of this pattern with some graphite. And then you'll pick up your tortillon, and before you can use your tortillon, you must do the tortillon toast. So when I count to 3, you will say tortillon, 1, 2, 3, tortillon. Very good. And now you may use your tortillon, and just with little circular motions, just blend in that graphite. Now, depending on what type of paper you're using, it might not blend as well, or might blend differently. So I'm using just plain white paper, and it still blends quite nicely. Now, when I use the Zentangle tiles in my classes that look like this is a Fabriano Italian paper that blends really, really well. It's an acid-free, quite lovely. Okay, but this works just fine. So that's all we're doing with this. We're just giving this an outline of some graphite, blend it in with your tortillon and little circular motions, or back and forth. You can go over it again, maybe bring out another layer, just a little bit, just pushing it out just a little bit, keeping that middle still very light and white. And there we go. You can see how it starts to lift off the paper. Shading gives our Zentangle 3D effect. It gives us depth, it gives it oomph, makes it pop. It's really, really great. So now we're going to move on to this pattern here. We did the printemps, and with the white spaces, we're going to, with again the side of our pencil, because it blends a lot better when we use the side of the tip. And we're just going to put in some graphite on either side of each one of these white sections. And it's not even neat. I'm just kind of scribbling it in very lightly, because my tortillon is going to blend it, right? So we take that tortillon and we just blend it in, going in little circular motions or back and forth. And I like to, when I shade, I like to point the tortillon towards that line of the edge there. And then once you've got them on either side, you can kind of bring another layer out, kind of pushing it out. Just drag it out a little bit on both sides, and then you'll see, and we're leaving a nice highlight in the middle between each one. So you do the same thing for each one. So just like with our pencil, even though shading, we move a little bit faster with shading, which you don't have to, you can slow it down, but just focus on what you're doing. Make sure you're not holding the pencil or the tortillon too tightly, and just really enjoy the moment that you're shading, being in that present moment. So if you want, you can actually give it, I'm using what's left of my tortillon, I'm just gonna give a little, uh, staying really close to the edges on the top and bottoms. So we've got the either sides here. I look at it this way. To me, this is the sides and this is top and, well, the other sides. We'll just say the other sides that we didn't shade. We can just put just a little bit, almost like just a little line there. And again, if you have another way of shading, you may do that because there's many, many ways to shade every pattern. And then with what's left on your tortillon, maybe dab a little bit in the middle of these printons, these little spirals. And if you don't have enough on the tortillon, you can just put a little graphite down, just a little dab. So I think I said the other day that, you know, day one seems to be a little bit longer than 10 minutes because of the string, but actually it's day 5 that tends to be a little bit longer because of all the shading. I'm trying to keep track of the time and try to keep it to the 10, but it really doesn't matter. Again, you can, if I go faster than you want, just pause the recording, or you can watch the recording in slow motion. Okay, so now let's move on to the next section. And for this one, I think what we'll do is let's shade the full lines. All right, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to start here, but we're going to go right above this whole line that we drew in this grid, putting down some graphite, again using the side of the pencil. So I'm like right above the line or on it or right above it. And we'll do the same with each line, right? We're just going to put a little bit of graphite right above, or right above that line, going over it, but right above it. And then the next one. So basically, a little graphite is going into the very beginning of each one of these blocks. And then again, we do tortillon, and I'm going to turn my tile so my tortillon faces that line. And we're just going to go circular motion to blend it out, pointing that tortillon at the line. We can go back a few times to go over it, blend it some more, maybe darken it a little bit. Now I always like to start off with a light layer because you can always add more. You know, some teachers may say go nice and dark, and that's okay. You can experiment that way. But I always say you can always add more graphite. And you can take away graphite too with an eraser, but we try not to use erasers in Zentangle. But if you do, it's not a big deal. I mean, that's okay. I just don't like them because they're messy. But once in a while, I will take out the eraser. Very once in a while. Okay, so that's that one. That's all we're going to do with that. And now with the first one we did, the spiral. Now, since I put orbs in mine, I'm not sure if you did or not, but first, in case you did, I'll show you, we're going to shade the orbs. And all we do is we put a little bit of graphite on one side of that orb. You could also just do like a little smiley face in maybe the bottom of it, maybe just a little smiley. That's a good way to shade too. Maybe I'll just do that. Little smiley face. It's almost like almost a smiley face, not too much of a smiley. Just put a little bit down on the bottom or one side. Don't think too much. And then go back and take that little pencil and just blend it in, staying in that area. Not doing much with it, just giving it a little bit of blending. Just to smooth it out so you've got a little bit of shading on each orb. Now you can go up and down on the opposite direction that the line was drawn on to get rid of that line. That's why it's good again to use the side of the pencil. And I'll do that again. Just, being that these are a little bit bigger, I'll just do kind of like that. Yeah, just like a nice little, doesn't even matter. Just a little line, blend it in. There are many different ways to shade orbs. This is just one. You are always free to do whatever you want. And I love seeing all the different variations that people do. So I hope that you will post your completed tile today on the Facebook page. So there will be a designated post on the Facebook page, and it will have today's date, and it will say post your ZenTen here, and please take a photo and do that. But before you do, you want to sign your artwork wherever you want. Now, we went all the way to the edge, so usually I sign, on the outside border. But when it's like this, I'll sign somewhere right in the pattern. So I'm going to pick this area right here in this design. And I'm just signing my initials. You can sign your artwork any way you like with your initials, your name, your chop, which is designing your initials or your name in any way you like. And then, maybe turn around your tile. Let's see look how different that looks just by turning it one direction, then another, and another. And really appreciate the time that you spent on this tile, and I can't wait to see it. So please do post it on the Facebook page. Also, please give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. That helps me out a lot, and I hope you have a nice, relaxing rest of the day. See you next week.